Settle into your pillow. Let the weight of the day soften. Nothing else is waiting for you right now. Tonight, you're not rushing anywhere. You're simply drifting toward a question that humans have carried quietly for thousands of years. How can the mind know it is asleep while still dreaming? Sleep begins not with darkness, but with letting go. As your body relaxes, muscles loosen their grip on gravity. Breath slows, heartbeats stretch gently apart, like waves arriving farther and farther from shore. From the outside, it looks like nothing is happening. But inside your brain, something extraordinary is unfolding. Neurons begin to change their rhythm, not stopping, not shutting down, but rearranging. The mind does not power off, it turns inward. This is the first secret of sleep that surprises many people. You are never truly conscious. Even in the deepest sleep, awareness does not vanish, it transforms. Imagine awareness like a lighthouse. When you're awake, its beam sweeps outward, scanning faces, screens, sounds, worries, time. But as sleep approaches, that beam slowly turns back toward the sea within. Thoughts grow softer, edges blur, logic loosens its grip, and somewhere in this gentle descent, a doorway appears. Not everyone notices it, but some do. A fleeting moment where you're no longer fully awake and not yet dreaming. A space where the body sleeps, but the mind is still listening. This threshold has many names. Neuroscientists call it hypnagogia, the transitional state between wakefulness and sleep. Artists have called it inspiration. Monks have called it witnessing. Ancient cultures believed it was where dreams slipped into the world. You might recognize it as the sudden image that flashes behind closed eyes, the feeling of falling just before sleep, the half-heard voice that fades before you understand it, the sense that you are aware but not in control. In this state, the brain's usual filters begin to relax. The part of you that organizes time, judges thoughts, and keeps track of who you are, it starts to dim. But awareness itself remains. Here is where the science becomes quietly beautiful. Brain scans show that as sleep deepens, certain regions slow down, especially the prefrontal cortex, the area responsible for planning, self-monitoring, and rational thought. This is why dreams feel illogical, why time stretches, why impossible things seem perfectly normal. Yet, another network stays alive. The systems responsible for experience, emotion, and imagery remain active, sometimes even more active than when you are awake. In other words, the narrator falls asleep, but the stage lights stay on. This is the foundation of awareness during sleep. You are not conscious in the waking sense, but you are not absent either. You are present without judgment, experiencing without effort, witnessing without control. It is a form of awareness stripped of language and intention, pure noticing. For most people, this awareness dissolves completely as dreams take over. The mind sinks fully into the story. But sometimes something unusual happens. The awareness doesn't disappear, it floats, like a leaf resting on the surface of a river instead of being carried beneath it. This is where lucid dreaming begins, not with control, not with excitement, but with recognition. The soft realization, I'm asleep and yet I am here. Importantly, this awareness is fragile. Too much excitement wakes the brain. Too much thinking snaps the thread. That's why lucid moments often fade so quickly, like trying to look directly at a star and losing it in the glare. The brain is balancing between two worlds, one that demands attention and one that dissolves it. Staying aware while asleep means learning to rest inside that balance. And perhaps that's why this state feels so profound, because it mirrors something deeply human. In waking life, we are always doing, becoming, chasing. But in sleep awareness, there is nothing to achieve. You're simply present without needing to act. As this chapter fades, allow yourself to drift the same way. No effort, no trying to stay awake. Just notice the quiet hum between thought. In the next chapter, we'll gently explore what the brain is doing when awareness survives sleep, and how science explains this delicate dreamlike consciousness without stealing its wonder. For now, rest here. The doorway is already opening. Chapter 2: When the brain dreams but the witness stays awake. As sleep deepens, something curious happens. The world outside fades almost completely. No light, no sound worth following, no sense of time pressing forward. And yet, the brain does not go quiet. It becomes busy in a different way. Inside your skull, billions of neurons begin to synchronize, like distant cities dimming their lights and switching to night power. Electrical rhythms slow and lengthen. Thoughts lose their sharp edges. Memories loosen their grip on sequence. This is where dreams are born. But awareness, the simple sense of being here, can sometimes remain. To understand how, we need to look gently at what the sleeping brain is actually doing. When scientists first studied sleep, they assumed it was passive, a shutdown. They were wrong. Modern brain imaging revealed something astonishing. During certain phases of sleep, especially REM sleep, the brain is almost as active as it is when you're awake, sometimes even more. The difference is how that activity is organized. In waking life, the brain behaves like a strict conductor. Information flows in from the senses. Attention is focused. Reality is checked, corrected, verified. But during REM sleep, that conductor steps aside. The brain becomes more like a jazz ensemble, improvising, looping, blending emotion, memory, and imagination without rules. This is why dreams feel vivid, why faces change, why places merge, why stories unfold without logic, yet feel deeply real. Here's the key insight. Awareness doesn't belong to one single part of the brain. It emerges from patterns, from networks talking to each other. During sleep, some of those networks fall quiet, but others remain softly lit, especially the ones involved in experience rather than control. One network scientists study closely is called the default mode network. When you're awake, this network activates during daydreaming, reflection, and imagination. When you think about yourself, your mind wanders. During sleep, parts of this network remains active, weaving dream narratives from memory, emotion, and sensation. This means something profound. Dreams are not random hallucinations. They are self experience without supervision. Normally, your waking mind monitors reality. This makes sense. That's impossible. Wake up. But during sleep, that monitoring system relaxes. And yet, the capacity to experience does not. So, when awareness lingers during sleep, what you get is not full consciousness, but pure presence inside imagination. You're in the dream, but not entirely lost in it. Think of it like watching clouds drift past while lying on your back. Most nights, you forget yourself entirely and become the clouds. But occasionally, you notice, I'm watching this. That noticing is awareness during sleep. Not loud, not analytical, just gently there. Neuroscience shows that during lucid moments, something unusual occurs. The brain regions responsible for self awareness, which usually sleep during REM, briefly reactivate. Not fully, just enough. It's like a dim light turning on in a theater while the movie keeps playing. The story continues, but now there is a witness. This explains why lucid dreams feel both magical and unstable. Awareness and dreaming are not meant to coexist for long. They pull the brain in opposite directions. Awareness leans toward wakefulness, dreaming leans toward surrender. Holding both requires balance. Too much awareness, you wake up. Too much dreaming, you forget. Lucidity lives in the fragile middle. And here is something quietly comforting. You don't create awareness during sleep, it's already there. You simply don't always notice it. Just like you don't notice your breathing until attention turns toward it. This perspective changes how we think about sleep. Sleep isn't the absence of consciousness, it's a different arrangement of it, a softer form, a slower rhythm, a version of awareness freed from responsibility. And perhaps that's why moments of awareness in dreams feel so profound. They remind us that consciousness is not binary, not on or off. It's a spectrum. And every night, without effort, you slide across it. As this chapter settles, allow your own awareness to loosen. You don't need to hold on to anything. In the next chapter, we'll explore why awareness sometimes wakes up inside dreams, what triggers it, and why the mind occasionally realizes it's dreaming at all. For now, let the witness rest. The dream will carry you. Chapter 3: Why the mind sometimes realizes it is dreaming. Most dreams pass without question. You accept the impossible. You walk through walls. You meet people long gone. You fall and never hit the ground. And it all feels normal. So why on some nights does the mind suddenly whisper, "This isn't real"? Lucidity does not appear by force. It does not arrive on command. It emerges quietly, unexpectedly, often when the mind is least tense. Science suggests that lucid awareness arises not because the brain wakes up, but because two modes of consciousness briefly overlap. Think of the brain as having layers. At the surface, alertness, logic, time, identity. Beneath that, imagery, emotion, memory, sensation. Deeper still, raw awareness, the simple knowing that experience is happening. In waking life, these layers are tightly bound together. In sleep, they separate. Dreaming pulls you downward into imagery and emotion. Lucidity happens when awareness floats upward, just enough. Researchers studying lucid dreaming have noticed a pattern. Lucid moments often occur near the beginning or end of REM sleep, during lighter REM phases, after brief micro awakenings, when emotional intensity peaks in a dream. In other words, Lucidity appears when the brain is already unstable, not fully asleep, not fully awake, balanced on the edge. This instability creates cracks in the dream, a clock that won't behave, a face that keeps changing, a scene that resets without reason. Most of the time, the dreaming mind smooths this over, but occasionally, awareness notices the inconsistency and recognition blooms. This realization is not intellectual. You don't analyze a dream the way you solve a problem. Lucidity feels more like remembering something you always knew, a sudden clarity, a quiet certainty. This is a dream. Why this doesn't happen every night? Because the brain's priority during sleep is immersion. Dreams exist to simulate reality, to rehearse emotion, memory, and threat without waking the body. Too much awareness would interrupt the process. So the brain normally keeps the observer asleep. Lucidity is the exception, not the rule. Interestingly, people who experience lucid dreams often share certain traits: strong introspective awareness, frequent daydreaming, sensitivity to inner imagery, a tendency to reflect on thought itself. In waking life, these people naturally notice their own mental states. At night, that habit sometimes carries over, not because they try, but because their awareness is already trained to watch. This tells us something important. Lucid awareness is not about control, it's about familiarity with the mind. If you know the texture of your thoughts when awake, you are more likely to recognize them when dreaming. But here is the paradox. The moment you try to become lucid, you often fail. Effort sharpens the mind. Sharpness wakes the brain. Lucidity prefers softness. It arrives when attention is relaxed, not tense, when curiosity replaces desire. That's why many lucid dreams happen spontaneously, during naps, early morning sleep, or moments of emotional openness. The mind is alert, but not gripping, present, but not pushing. And when lucidity appears, it often carries a feeling of awe, not excitement. Excitement wakes you, but wonder? A quiet amazement at simply being aware inside imagination. This is why awareness in dreams feel meaningful. It's not about flying or changing scenery. It's about recognizing consciousness itself, seeing experience from the inside, unfiltered by waking rules. For a brief moment, you see how reality is constructed. Not just dreams, but waking life too. As this chapter fades, let this idea rest gently. Lucidity is not something you chase. It's something that happens when awareness learns to stay soft. In the final chapter, we'll reflect on what awareness during sleep teaches us about consciousness itself and why this quiet state matters far beyond dreaming. For now, let the dream continue without interruption. Awareness knows how to wait. Chapter 4: What Awareness During Sleep Reveals About Consciousness. When morning comes, dreams dissolve quickly. Images fade, stories fragment. Only a feeling remains, like the echo of a thought you almost understood. And yet something important lingers, because awareness during sleep leaves behind a quiet realization. Consciousness is not tied to waking life. It is deeper than attention, deeper than thought, deeper than memory. For centuries, humans believed consciousness was something you had only when awake. Eyes open, mind alert, world engaged. Sleep was considered a disappearance. Science now tells us a different story. Awareness doesn't vanish at night, it changes shape. Even in deep sleep, the brain maintains a background hum, a minimal awareness that doesn't think, doesn't judge, doesn't narrate. It simply exists. This suggests something profound. Consciousness is not produced by effort. It does not require intention. It does not even require a story. It can persist without a self. When awareness survives into a dream, it shows us something rare. That experience does not depend on reality being real. The mind can create entire worlds, complete with emotion, meaning, and presence from within itself. And yet, awareness remains the same. When you are awake, dreaming, or somewhere in between, the feeling of being here is strangely constant. This challenges how we define reality. If a dream can feel real while it lasts, what makes waking life different? Science suggests the difference is not consciousness itself, but constraint. Waking reality follows rules, dreams do not. But both are experienced through the same awareness. This doesn't make waking life less real. It makes it more precious because it shows that consciousness is not owned by circumstances. It is the stage on which all circumstances appear. Awareness during sleep also teaches us something gentle about control. In dreams, trying to control too much wakes you up. In sleep, surrender allows depth. And perhaps the same is true in life. The more tightly we grip experience, the more fragile it becomes. Many people describe lucid awareness as peaceful rather than exciting. A calm clarity, a sense of watching without urgency. This mirrors the brain's most restorative states. where effort falls away and presence remains. From a scientific perspective, awareness during sleep may be a byproduct, but from a human perspective, it feels like a reminder that you are more than your thoughts, more than your plans, more than your waking identity. You are the quiet witness behind them all. Every night, without trying, you return to that witness. You loosen your name, your history, your expectations. You become awareness without a story. And then, in the morning, you gently rebuild yourself again. Perhaps this is why sleep feels sacred across cultures. Not because dreams predict the future, but because they reveal the foundation of experience itself. A mind that can imagine worlds and an awareness that can rest inside them. As this final chapter fades, there is nothing to remember, no technique to practice, no insight to hold on to, just the comfort of knowing, even when you let go completely, awareness does not disappear. It waits quietly, like a light behind closed eyes. Wherever sleep carries you next, whether into dreams, stillness, or nothing at all, you are already home. Good night, sleep well.